Hey everybody. Make sure that we got it all started out here. I'm working from my computer this time, so this might be interesting to see how the video turns out from my computer camera instead of what we've been using, my phone. Happy to see you. Make sure I'm following here. Let me know that you're here. Write a comment and say hello. And we'll get started in just a minute. Hopefully some of you will be able to join, and we'll do some tapping, of course, and in a minute we'll do a little bit of teaching too. I've had a lot on my heart and mind, and a lot of people have been talking about some things that I think would be very helpful. So just let me know when you're here. Let's say hello. Glad you're here. Glad you're participating. We're, of course, inviting energy and spirit to be here. Hey, Sandy. Early risers, early show up. Yay. Make sure you have some water with you. We're going to want to keep ourselves hydrated. Yep. See if I can get all of my equipment running. So, welcome. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm hoping we can do some learning and some healing and mostly just some connecting. One of the things I'm seeing as a theme with a lot of my groups is how many of us are so busy living our lives and doing our things that we're not being able to really connect with other people. And that's a little challenging. So I like this idea of us being able to come together at least once a week and connect. So our topic for tonight is about healing your grief, whatever that might be. I know that we all are very aware that there's the grief of losing a loved one, but I teach always and often that grief is really an everyday occurrence. That we have situations and experiences that are outside of what we'd hoped for or expected. That divorce, that relationship that didn't work out, a required move that you didn't really feel like you got a vote on, maybe a sickness or a diagnosis, losing a job, not having your finances be what you want them to be. All of these pressures really cause us to grieve because I really believe there's a part of us that knows that as source and as spirit, we should be able to have and do and be everything that we want. And yet in our human form, we tend to experience a lot of the struggle and the contrast. So that's a little bit of what I want to talk about tonight and a lot of what I want to work on tonight. Hi, Susan. Welcome. As you come in, please do make a comment so I know you're here. And what I want to do to start with tonight is maybe just do a little bit of tapping. This tapping is one of my favorites when I'm feeling scattered or when I need to quickly ground and maybe don't have a lot of time to meditate. Sometimes I'll just go right into prayer and tapping, but this particular tapping will just help us to quiet our mind. Hi, Shannon. Help us quiet our mind and help us balance our body and really become present for the work that we want to do here. So, hi, Ellen. So let's start with karate chopping. And we're just going to be very simple. Repeat after me. If this is your first time, it's very cool. This is acupuncture without needles. We call it energy psychology. The idea being that by calming the nervous system, by activating these acupressure points, we're able to quiet the mind and balance the body and bring about healing. And that's what we want to do. So repeat after me, karate chopping, and repeat after me. Even though I may have had a hectic day, I'm telling my mind to be quiet. Take a breath. I'm telling my body it's time to balance. Deep breath. I'm reminding my mind that whatever I've been worried about or working on, I can slow down now. This is my time. And I'm telling my body, whoo, we're safe here. All is well. Take a deep breath. I'll do one more. Even though I may have had a hectic day or I may have a lot that's been on my mind and I'm worried about, I'm reminding myself that right here, right now, in this moment, all is well. I need nothing besides what I have right now. I can breathe. I have light. I have my friends. And I'm ready to experience some peace. Give me a thumbs up if that's a yes for you. You want some peace tonight? Top of the head, quiet mind. Between the eyes, balance and still body. Side of the eyes, quiet mind. Got some people who want some peace. I'm seeing those thumbs up. Under the eyes, balance and quiet body. Someone needs to take a deep breath. I can feel you're breathing really shallow. There we go. Under the nose, quiet mind. Chin, balance body. Collarbones, be quiet mind. Under the arm, still and peaceful body. Take a breath. There you go. Bottom of the ribs. Remember that the thumbs are up under the breastbone and you're right down on all the rib cages. Piano. Quiet mind and balanced body. So let's take a breath for a moment. So our topic for tonight is about healing your grief as we're taming the ego. And I want to just explain that to me, the ego is that voice of the inner critic in your mind. There are 1,000 names that we call it. The shadow side, the voice of the flesh. Some think of it as the whispers of the devil. Whatever works for you to get some concept of that voice is not you, right? That voice is not your spirit or your higher self. That voice is not your identity or personality. And we know that's true because we can hear it and observe it as separate from ourselves, right? In fact, one of our lovely friends, Kai, and I do have permission to use the name, posted on our group Facebook page last night something that I wanted to share, and I did ask for permission. I want to be really clear about that. This was the comment. It said, "Hi everyone, I'm writing because I can't figure out what else to do anymore. Every single night when I'm alone, bad voices, thoughts, won't leave me alone. I've done everything I can think of." First of all, give me some hearts if you know this voice. If you too recognize that voice, I call it the bully, right? It's like a terrorist. It wants to pick at you all day long. The quote goes on, or the message goes on to say, "I've been taking all my meds at the same time, making sure I'm adding zinc and magnesium, right? All the things that help to balance our nervous system and our mind, staying hydrated, trying to get enough rest. I meditate, I pray, I breathe, I take a walk, I eat healthy," in all caps, "everything. And if I distract myself with, say, a movie, the moment it ends, then the noise happens again." And it says things like, I'm taking this in context here of, "You deserve everything that's happened to you." It is the biggest voice of all. And then the question, does anyone have suggestions on how to deal with this sort of thing? It's almost as if my inner grief is expanding and trying to drown me. So this is what I want to work on tonight. Every one of us has that voice. I call it the ego, plain and simple. It's the voice of the flesh. It kind of came with the packaging. It's the old tapes that came from my ancestors for however many generations. It's the verdicts that I came up with all by myself about how life should be, how people should behave. It's what I call in the Ego Tamer Academy, my book of rules. And that voice was originally, like eons ago, designed to keep us safe and alive. It was always watching for danger. It was trying to keep our body safe. Its sole purpose is to keep us from discomfort or danger. The problem is our way of life has changed and our consciousness has not yet caught up. So we still have these old tapes running. We still have these old programs. I like to think of it as like a puppy that just hasn't been trained to realize there is no danger in this moment. And yes, it's perfect. There are moments when there is danger and it's a knee-jerk reaction. We don't have to stop and think about get out of the way of that car or don't touch that snake. Unfortunately, 90% of our lives in front of computers and in our offices and with our families has no real danger. So our mind, that ego mind, starts manufacturing what is danger. Someone embarrassing us could feel like life and death. Yeah? Give me an emoticon. Give me a googly something that you know what I'm talking about. This fear of being ashamed, this fear of failing. These are not life and death. But our body systems respond as if they are. Right? If this is making sense, let me know. So the way this works is once we are able to start observing it, and again, this is my whole purpose with the Ego Tamer Academy, is I help people understand that we've talked about the ego and we've read about the ego, but until we're able to experience how it's operating, stop the pattern, actually rewrite the scripts from a higher consciousness, it wants to literally take us out of the game of life, because the game of life to the ego is danger. So my loves, when we are in grief, or when we have depression, or like Sweet Kai, all this stress and all this trauma, if we aren't keeping our nervous system balanced and calm, it triggers that part of our brain that feels like we have to fight or freeze or flee. And I always add the extra F in the Ego Tamer Academy of fix it. I want to take care of that I get to feel like I am making some kind of action, but it's still outward and it's not the inward processes. So what I'd like for you to do, I want to do some sessions tonight. I want to help you all with some of this ego stuff. And welcome to all of you who are showing up. Hi, Patty. I hope you're staying. Stuart, Robin. I want you to make a comment about how has that voice been harassing you lately? And I'll pick one or two. And I invite you to actually write your phrases down and set them aside and just tap with whatever we're tapping. And I'll get as many of these themes and topics as feels appropriate and comfortable. And we'll do some tapping. Hey, Barb, can attest to that. Yes, I'm a fixer too, girl. That's how I know it is. So my ego is telling me, how is it bullying you? Give me the phrase. And then on a scale of 0 to 10, how agitated and upset does it make you just thinking about that phrase? So my ego keeps bullying me with this fear thought or that worry. And one of the beautiful things, and I want to read this right out of Kai's message, because this is one of the first things that was like a light bulb moment for me, is the ego was saying, you deserve everything that's happened to you, clearly referring to negative things. My friends, who would call you you? Do you look in the mirror or refer to yourself as you? Is that an aha for anybody? Give me a thumbs up or a heart. When that voice starts speaking to you, it is like an outside force, literally terrorizing, annoying, compartmentalizing, attacking you. So give me some phrases. How has the ego been frightening and attacking you? And we'll do some hat dance. We'll do some specifics on the phrases that you're giving me. Anybody? Here we go. Okay. Barb telling me I can't. Notice that it says it's telling me, it's probably saying you won't make it alone. And on a scale of 0 to 10, your kids need you to solve all their problems. A good mom. Yep. And if you don't solve, if you're not 1,000% on top of everything, it'll all fall apart. Ooh, I love this. Susan, thank you for showing this, because notice, I call this the hitting a geyser, right? We talk about, I hit this vibrational fear point, and everything that resonates with that fear point of my kids need me to be on top of everything. And if I'm not 1,000% on top of everything and solving all their problems, and it just becomes this geyser of fear thoughts that just bounce and bounce and bounce. Okay, we have another one that is, you're never gonna get it all together, and it's an 8. Never get it all together. I don't know what it is and how we're gonna get it together. That I'm going to fail in business. Okay, so each of you, I want you to notice, where do you feel it in your body? And these phrases may not be your phrases, but that's okay. You get the idea. Write your phrases down, and I'm going to pick a couple of these, and we're going to tap a couple of rounds, and then we'll come back and do some more. Yeah? We're on to awesome. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. I can't make it alone. I want you to notice anybody say that, especially Barb, who put that in there, and I didn't see your SUDs, so make sure you share with me that SUDs. I can't or won't make it alone. We're going to start karate chopping. I want you to notice where you feel it in your body. Even though my ego is telling me that I can't or won't make it alone, I deeply and completely accept that this is a microscopic view of what I'm capable of. Take a deep breath. Even though I realize that my ego is telling me this because I'm afraid, and I'm throwing in stuff that may not be for you, Barb, but is for everybody, that I'm afraid to have to do it on my own. Nope, I don't want to do it on my own. Give me a thumbs up if I've hit that. And it's rephrasing it as, I just can't. It's highly possible that I just don't want to. It's part of my grief. It's part of my pain. It's totally resistance to my higher, grander self. This is resonating. Yay, thank you. Everyone take a breath. Even though my ego might be telling me that I will never get it together, I'm gonna fail, but of course it always says you. You're gonna fail. You'll never get it together. Who'd be saying that? I deeply and completely honor and respect that this is the scared child in me. I don't know how old it is, but it definitely feels vulnerable. And I certainly know that I'm probably already doing better than it's telling me. Take a deep breath. Give me some hands on this one if that was right. Top of the head. This idea that I'll never make it alone between the eyes. I can't make it alone. Side of the eyes. How much of my life have I been doing things and taking care of myself anyway? Under the eyes. Really, I can't do anything alone? Under the nose. I can't live or manage or operate a business on my own? Come to your chin. I'm asking my spirit self to challenge this idea. Take a breath. Something's coming up for someone, so put a comment in there if we need to. Stay on your chin for a minute. Collarbones, this idea that I can't do it on my own. Under the arm. And the flip side that I have to do it all on my own. Do you see how crazy the ego is? Right? It's just crazy. It's like from one extreme to the other. Bottom of the ribs, that I'm going to fail. Oh, everybody do that. Sometimes that helps. Oh, I'm going to fail. Top of the head, things will never get better. Turns to the eyes. Poor, poor, pitiful me. Ego loves pity parties. Give me some smiles if I want you to be laughing, not feeling badly. Side of the eyes, especially when it comes to grief. Under the eyes, adapting to the changes that have been forced upon me by this situation. Everyone take a breath. Under the nose. Okay, I don't know what this is, but we're going to run back through that because I'm just following the prompting here. This idea that life has forced a situation upon me and I have to suffer through it. Come to your chin. Maybe it's not about suffering through it, but growing through it. Collarbone. I don't want to make it on my own. Under the arm. I don't want to do it on my own. Bottom ribs. I'm sure this is my inner child screaming out in fear. Don't make me. I don't want to. You can't make me. That's what it actually said. You can't make me. Top of the head. I don't want to. And you guys, this is really healthy if you just kind of get it all out. That's one of the beauties of this process of tapping is it really is helpful if we just speak it and calm it at the same time with the tapping. Side of the eyes. Divine energy love transmission is starting. My hands just got really warm for whoever will receive that. It's just an energy healing that goes along with it. Under the eyes. This isn't fair. I'm getting all kinds of information about phrases. Under the nose. I'm tired of worrying about things, people, my job, my kids. I'm tired of worrying. Thank you. Come to your chin. It's so helpful to have that feedback, you guys. And sometimes I feel like I'm talking to myself. Collarbones. These ideas that are not helpful. Under the arm. These thoughts that actually defend the worst case scenario. Ooh, take a breath on that. Bottom of the ribs. These ideas that actually defend the idea that I'm incapable. Top of the head. That's what ego does. It defends my brokenness. Turn between the eyes. It makes excuses for it. Side of the eyes. Egos love to get together and compare their brokenness. Am I preaching to myself? Anybody? Under the eyes. I get with groups of people and we try to one-up each other with our victimhood. Yep, under the nose. A part of me wants to be rescued, and maybe if I'm broken or wounded or damaged enough, someone will fix it for me. Come to your chin. That's a lovely idea because then someone else gets all the power and control over me. Ew. Collarbone. I don't want to be rescued by another person. Under the arm. And I'm also acknowledging that it creates the rescuer in me. Bottom of the ribs. Releasing these ideas that I'm not enough, that I can't do it, that it's too much, that I have to do it all, that I'm not capable. Say whichever ones work for you. Let's take a breath. I'm being prompted to come back to something else here. Even though it's possible that no one helped my inner child when I was the child. Give me some emoticons if that's ringing. I'm feeling the ping, ping, ping. That even at an early age, it felt like I had to be the one to take care of myself, or maybe others, or my parents. Maybe a part of me feels like I'm just tired of taking care of, and I want someone to take care of me. Yeah. I deeply and completely acknowledge that there is a well of A wealth is the word they want to use. I was going to say, well, a wealth of energy, love, and power in me. I know that's not a favorite word, but we're going to say it anyway. That I can tap and tune into anytime I want. Top of the head, sending love to my own inner child that didn't have someone to take care of me. Whoo, take a breath, y'all. Sending love, forgiveness to that younger me who's trying to take care of everything now. Side of the eyes. This is how my ego gets in my spirit's way. Under the eyes. This is under the eyes. This is how my ego tries to fix me. Under the nose. First, it attacks me and tells me all these scary hurtful thoughts. Come to your chin, and then it gets to rush in and rescue. Collarbone, and then it gets exhausted. Under the arm, releasing the energy of these beliefs. And there goes that divine love transmission. So they're showing me a big light that's going down the center of someone. If it's you and you can feel it, feel free to actually comment with a raised hand that you can actually feel that energy of, it's cutting a cord, I think is what it is. There's an energetic cord between you and the victim part of you. Let's all do that together. Woot, woot. Yeah. Top of the head. Cutting the cords, habits, and patterns between the eyes. Cutting the cords. And when I say cords, I'm always thinking of an energetic, right? We get attached to people literally. They're actually, and sometimes I can see it between people, that there is a visceral like cord or hose or wire that goes from one person to the other that's totally energetic, not always healthy. Under the eyes, especially when we're in our dysfunction, that connection to me, dysfunction is the agreement that you're going to show up in a certain way so I can show up as my broken certain way. And that's how we enable each other to keep acting out of our ego. Yeah. Come to your chin. That's why enabling is so unhealthy, is I keep agreeing with you in your brokenness. Collarbone, agreeing with you in your fear, thoughts, beliefs. Under the arm. And when I enable you to maintain that lower perception of who you are, I'm not lifting you up by knowing you're capable. Bottom of the ribs, you're able. You're love. Woo, take a breath. Between the eyes, this idea that I can't or won't make it alone. Side of the eyes, this idea that I can't or won't make it alone. Under the eyes, this idea, releasing every last remaining drop of this idea that I can't or won't. And then I was asking Spirit to help me be open and ready and willing to own my power. Come to your chin, to step in. They don't want me to say step in because that sounds like this. To me, I'm seeing it as this, is to hold the energy of the depth of my soul. They're showing me and reminding me that we have all these angelic helpers. And I mean, these people that are on the other side, these souls, they're pouring love into us. They're giving us direction. When we slow down, right, we've had some really great posts in Healing Your Grief, the Healing Your Grief, the private page, on that idea of when I get quiet and I believe and recognize that they're there, I can hear. I get signs. I have dreams. Somebody help me remember. I had a really cool dream the other night myself, and I want to share that if it feels appropriate later. Bottom of the ribs. Releasing any remaining attachment to this belief that I can't or won't or shouldn't have to do it alone. Top of the head. I don't want anyone dictating how to do it to me. I don't want anyone dictating how I should do it, my life, to me, between the eyes. I don't want anyone to have that much control or power or authority. Side of the eyes, that would be really powerless if I really needed and depended on someone else. Under the eyes, it's time for me to start believing in my children. Woot woot. Under the nose, it's time for me to stop agreeing to enable them in the idea that they're less than and need me to do it all. Come to your chin. It's time for me to show them who they are through my eyes, my behavior, my expectations. Yeah? Collarbone. People live up to the measure that we put for them, our children. Under the arm, I want to stop defending their broken and neediness. That's me. That's my ego, my child. Bottom of the ribs, I want to celebrate and expect them to live up to their potential. Let them help. Give them responsibilities and celebrate, hold them accountable. Side of the eyes, watch their own self-worth grow. So this is interesting. Spirit showing me that we may have felt, I want to use the word disabled. That doesn't feel right, but maybe when I finish the sentence, it'll make sense. That there were certain ways that as younger children, we felt disabled or put upon by what our parents were or were not doing. And ironically, we're going to the other extreme and we're doing the same thing, but just in a different manner. Right? Is perhaps our parents didn't give us any guidance or any help or any of the love, support, direction that we thought we needed. And maybe we're doing it the opposite. And it could be either way. I'm just showing kind of what I'm tuning into. Okay, so let's take a breath. My hands are burning up here. Okay, random rounds. I'm hoping some of that worked. We've got some woot-woots. Retype your phrase, the beginning SUDS number, and the SUDS number now. Things like, I can't or won't make it alone. I have to do everything for my kids. Never going to get it together. I'm going to fail in my business. Those were just a few that I caught. And if you have new ones, share those as well. I'm going to take a drink of water while you're doing that. And you all take a drink of water too. The energy is running. I'm nice and hot over here. Okay, so we had, I can't make it alone, 8 to 5. We're going to start with that one. Y'all keep adding your comments and your SUDS numbers. I want to stick with that one because I heard something. Karate chop. Even though I have this idea that I can't make it alone, I deeply and completely love and appreciate that the word alone goes against my spiritual being's connectivity. And my ego is going to chew that up. Even though I'm recognizing that every phrase the ego bullies me with is loaded with innuendos. This word alone, I deeply and completely love and recognize I'm really not alone. Take a breath. Even though I have this idea that I can't make it alone, none of us really could. But I don't live on a desert island. And I'll bet there are lots of friends and family and neighbors and coworkers and children and grandchildren. I'm not alone. Top of the head, I want my ego to hear this. I have a community. Take a breath. Let me know if this is landing. Between the eyes, I have other people around me. Side of the eyes, I don't have to do it alone. Under the eyes, my children, my coworkers, even my clients. You know, we might be thinking about business, y'all. It's amazing the connections that we have. Under the nose, I'm asking Spirit to show me how to make better, deeper, wiser connections that serve my spirit. Come to your chin. I'm not alone. Collarbone. Someone's ego is bitching and saying, yes, you are. There's nobody loves me. So we're going to come back to karate chop. And if you would like to share that, feel free to put it in the comments that, yep, my ego's saying, I'm all alone. Nobody loves me. Robin, excellent. Went from 4 to 0. Rescuing my kids down to a 5. Sandy's 8 to a 2. Shannon's can't get it together. 5 to a 6. So we're touching on something good. Scared to let anyone in. So we're going to take this other aspect first. I need to write it down or I will forget. Even though I believe I'm all alone. And when I look at my community, my circle, my children, my friends, my neighbors, all the people who've died, whatever that it is, the proof that ego keeps reflecting back to you, it makes me contract. And I reach out even less. And the more I contract and the less I reach out, the more alone I feel. Because my focus and belief is on being alone. I would like to imagine there are ways to connect people and places that I haven't thought of yet. Spirit saying, for one of you in particular, you've thought of them, you just keep pushing them away, you keep resisting. Do one more, even though maybe I'm afraid to let anyone in. Because they're going to eat all the chocolate. Top of the head. They're going to eat all the goodies. Between the eyes. They're going to want something from me. God forbid they want something from me. Side of the eyes. I don't have anything else to give. Under the eyes. I don't trust them. They're going to hurt me. Under the nose. They might take something like my energy or time or money or love. Come to your chin. This again is my inner child. Ooh. Take a breath. I feel like that's hitting a couple of us. Collarbone. My wall is up and high. My shield is big and large under the arm. And I'm resisting all the good out there based on what other people have done or said or not done or not said or not been available on the ribs. I don't want to project on possible friends and loves. Top of the head. Just like I hate it when someone projects their crap on me based on someone they used to be with. Can I get an amen? Anybody? Between the eyes. Releasing from every cell of my being the fear and resistance. Side of the eyes. Balancing my nervous system. For a couple of you, that's going to make it higher. I don't know why, but I guess it's going to crescendo and then go down. Just breathe. Just keep tapping. Just keep tapping and talking under the eyes. These beliefs have been my Bible, my book of rules, the thing I believed in. If I don't have this belief, who will I be? Under the nose. I'll be free. I want you to say it just like that. Come to your chin. If I let these old ugly rules go, I get to be free. Collarbone. Emotionally free. Under the arm. Spiritually free. Bottom of the ribs. Energetically free. Top of the head. Got some amens. Awesome. Releasing the habit of thinking these old, this is the word I'm being given, these old dirty thoughts between these eyes. It's like telling myself an old dirty joke. Side of the eyes. It's not helpful. It's not light. It's dirty. Under the eyes. I've never heard that phrase before, so thank you, Spirit, for whoever that was for. Under the nose. This idea that freedom is scary. Come to your chin. I'd much rather be in a prison. I want to much rather be in a cage and not have any freedom to come and go or do what I want. Under the arm. I don't have to run and roam. I can sit right here on the grass. The big old world is not going to cave in on me. Whoo, energy running. Bottom of the ribs. The more I stay tuned in to my higher self and wisdom, the more joy I get to have and be. Top of the head. I'm open to more joy. Right joy, if that means something to you. Between the eyes. More satisfaction. Side of the eyes. More ease and grace. Under the eyes. More perfection in how imperfect life is. And then I'd rather be amused than annoyed. Can I get some yeses on that? Come to your chin, releasing this pattern of thinking. Collarbones releasing these ego thoughts that are tearing me up under the arm and tearing me up. Interesting. Bottom ribs, this idea that I can't make it alone, that I don't want anybody to help me, and it's a scary world out there. How silly is that sound? Let's take a breath. Just want to tune in for a minute. Give me some feedback. Tell me where your phrases are. Any of those words helpful, triggery? Put your original phrase and the original SUDs, second SUDs, third SUDs. Where did you start? How is it doing? I'm going to never get it together. I'm afraid to let anyone in. I'm going to fail in my business. And notice, that's the other thing I notice about the ego comments, is if anyone else said those things to me, I'd be rip-roaring mad. But I let my ego say those crappy things to me all of the time. Okay, so we had Susan's was a 9 to a 5. This idea that I have to do everything for my kids, I have to be on it 1,000%, went from a 9 to a 5 to a 1. Barb's, this idea that I can't make it on my own, 8 to a 5 to a 3, right? Yeah. Shannon's 8, 5, 3. I might be repeating numbers. Everything just shifted in my comments. So if I'm getting the numbers incorrect, I apologize. Okay. One hand hot and one hand is cold. That's a curious thing. Robin, I wonder what does that mean to you intuitively? Which hand is it? Which hand is hot and which hand is cold? Both of mine are burning up right now, which I'm being prompted to run some of that energy on y'all. Everyone take a breath. You feel the love coming from my hands. I always just feel like Creator pours it through me. It's divine love transmission. It's going all the way down to your feet. Whoever's back has been giving them grief. Got someone with a knee thing going on there. A lot of it's just heart stuff. Got an ear. Somebody, the ear is about listening to that ego. It's almost like, I wish I could just turn that off. And don't we all? This is what we're doing. That's what the Ego Tamer Academy is all about. Anybody on here who's, I'm not tracking my left brain, but anybody on here who's been in the Ego Tamer Academy, if not right now, I'd love to have your input, your comments about what that has meant to you to be part of the Academy, what difference it made in your life, how it helped you, how the program itself and the content has been a blessing on this very topic of being able to tame that ego voice and take back control when you need to and use these tools, because it all kind of goes into one. And especially, like I say, when it comes to our grief. I was really concerned the other day because I saw a statistic that talked about how our children are committing suicide in record numbers. And I think any one of us who has this experience, who understands about this, would absolutely know that it's all coming from that ego. To me, this is the spiritual battle. It's like, if my ego can keep me playing small, being afraid to be alone, afraid to let people in, no win, right? There's no good right answer that feels safe to that ego, because it wants to be my God. It wants to be the controller. And so when we're grieving and we have some kind of trauma or loss or unexpected change that just literally spits, and we have to work through the process of grief. And to me, the grief is the inside processes of thinking and feeling, and what do I mean and what do I feel about that, and what are my verdict and what is my faith? How does my faith play into it? Might be a better way to say it. And the mourning is the actual releasing. It's the work we do in all of the grief work that I do is we're processing the grief by mourning the phrases and mourning the story. We're doing something with it. If we don't do something with it, weird word, but we become constipated with the low vibration of grief energy. And then we get depressed because we're stuck in the past. We're avoiding the future because we don't want to go forward without our loved one. Choir, right here, multiple situations myself, son, mother, father, brother, thousands of relatives, have a funeral again this Saturday. You get what I'm saying? It's an ongoing process. To me, the resiliency of grief and trauma is being able to process it faster, take my faith and bandage the wounds and do these processes of who am I in that relationship and now that it's changed. And the ego is a liar. It is a freaking liar. Anything it tells you that contracts your spirit, it's trying to take you out of the game of life. Not one person who's committed suicide, no matter what age they are, was in a high vibrational conscious state. Little by little, the scripture actually says the devil will put a chain around you and lead you step by step slowly down into the depths of despair. And when we get into that place of despair, we isolate. We don't come out and do these kinds of things. We don't work. We want to stay in the bed, which perpetuates more wanting to stay in the bed, because ego loves when we get to play the victim and wrap up in our pity party, whatever. And that's when we get vulnerable to those thoughts of, I don't even want to be here anymore. It wouldn't matter to anyone. Am I making sense to anybody? Yeah. We don't want to do that. Keep reaching out. Keep participating in this group, in other groups. Keep showing up at work. Even if that ego is talking, sometimes I refer to it as a testimony in reverse. Right? Is the more my ego is wanting me to not go to that party or not be with those people or not have that experience, sometimes that's a testimony in reverse. That's telling me that it really, that little devil, that little bully doesn't want me to have that joyful experience. Something wonderful could be on the other side of my resistance. Raise your hand if you've had an experience like that where you really just about talked yourself out of doing something, and after you did, you were able to go, man, I'm glad I went with it. I'm glad I did that. Had all this not to. But afterwards, I could see not only the benefit, but the blessings. That's pretty much what life is all about with the ego and the spirit. It's very dangerous to your soul to isolate, to ruminate with the ego. Our thoughts create our experience. Dr. Joe talks about how our thoughts are magnetic and it sends out a wave, and our thoughts are electric and it sends out a wave, and our emotions are magnetic. So if I send out this thought that it's dangerous to be with people, I magnetize the people who believe and feel the same way. Right? It's like a beacon and a message going out to find all the subconscious minds that agree with that and are gonna come into my experience. That's why, to me, this work is so important, is when we can reframe that, just these reframes, going from 8s to 5s to 3s to 2s to 1s, these reframes catapult you to a higher vibrational energy and consciousness for the next 24 hours at least. Ego might still be picking at you, but if you can hold on to these thoughts and go, wait a minute, who would call me you? Is this what my higher self, God self, would say to me? Am I feeling contracted and painful? My emotions are my guidance system of whether I'm in alignment or I'm out of alignment with my higher self. So important. And I know that most of the people that show up here and in my groups are healers and teachers and helpers and have so much love to give to this world. So of course the ego is going to work even harder because you keep pushing against those comfort zones and boundaries. In our group, there was an article on grief. I can't remember if it was on the Jan Luther Healing Your Grief page or the Healing Your Grief private group. But there was an article from the Huffington Post that someone shared about how I was trying to comfort a friend who was grieving and mourning. And I wanted to be that comfort. And what my mind, my ego mind started doing, these are not the words she used, but my ego mind started trying to compare my experience with her experience. And of course, when she started saying, well, you know, I grew up without a father. I'm sorry your father died, but I grew up without a father, and me. And of course, that closed and closed and closed the spirit of her friend, because she was now making it all about her. And she got angry. You win. You had the worst life. You didn't grow up with a father. At least I had one for 30 years, right? Triggered that painful ego. And now they became enemies. Being able to learn how to have what I call healing conversations, another program in the core, in the healing, in the EFT Academy, Ego Tamer Academy. We try that again. Another course in the Ego Tamer Academy. We're able to feel into the language and sit and ask questions. Tell me more about that. I didn't like the questions. The person did a shift where instead of the person might say something like, well, I'm just really tired. And the question in the article was, oh, well, why are you tired? That made my ego go, my spirit go, ah. Instead of saying, why are you tired? Say, oh my gosh, what's happening? What are you dealing with right now? How can I help? You want to talk about it, right? A little bit of a different energy. Are you getting the idea? Give me some thumbs up if it's making sense, that if we're coming from our ego, we're always going to be comparing. It's always going to be about me, right? Another really good thought, Sandy's saying that she's been trying to fast, but her ego always talks her out of it. I want y'all to think about something that you've had that experience. The flip is also the same. Don't eat that cookie. I don't want to eat that cookie. I don't want to drink that wine, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. And I start out strong in the morning because my spirit is strong. And as I go through the day, my ego starts wearing me down, and other people's egos start wearing me down. And then pretty soon the ego goes, you know, a cup won't hurt you. A cookie won't hurt you. You deserve it. You worked hard today. I call them rational lies. Someone want to write that in the comments so I can remember where that is in the video? And then we give in. And we eat that cookie or that bag of cookies, drink that wine, whatever it is. And what does the ego do next? You shouldn't have had those cookies. Why did you drink that wine? You're such a useless. How lazy, how weak. It doesn't have our best interest at heart. Doesn't know if I was going to say at heart, but I don't know if it has a heart. It's just a conscious energy of old tapes. I don't think it has a heart. It doesn't have a soul. It's just intelligent information that's not very smart. So the energy is starting to slow. How are we doing on time? We're right there at that time. Questions, comments. I'm going to read through a couple here while you're let me see if I can get this to load up here. Yes, rational lies. That's one of my favorite phrases in the Ego Tamer Academy is rational lies. Loves to. Ego says, you poor thing. You deserve to treat yourself with the cookie, the cracker, the ice cream, whatever. Right, it does. Tries to coerce us. So if you have other questions or comments, I'm going to tune in here and see if there's anything that I wanted to share with you in closing. Oh, there is. I almost forgot. I would like to get your feedback, and I may put a poll in the groups and on the page. I have some amazing tools and programs on taming your grief. Teaches you what it is. why it's dangerous to not become aware of it, not observe it, not tame it. How it loves to keep us wounded, separate us from God. To me, that's really the whole goal of the ego, is to keep us separate from God. Because the minute that I'm really attuned and just jamming and God's driving the bus, ego starts dying. Scripture says it all over the place. Die to self. It's the ego, body, flesh, self that needs to die. I don't think we have to let it die. I think we just have to let it die out. And that's why I call it ego taming. So I'm thinking about taking some of my best materials and putting them into a 6-week program for the beginning of the year in 2020. I know that several of you have been through some of these programs, so I'd love your feedback about how you feel it's beneficial, how, what might be your testimonies. But I want to just plant that seed and have you start thinking about, if I could, over the course of 6 weeks, empower you with more of this stuff, ways to talk the ego down, ways to reframe your own mind, ways to change your own energy. We can't meet every minute, every day. But if you learn the skills, you know how to do it, you can do it for yourself. I'm seeing that you can do it for your friends, your patients, your clients. So keep that in mind. I'm thinking about doing that in 2020, and I want to see if it's worth my putting the time and energy into pulling it all together. I'm feeling really good about it, though. In the past, we've done it for months, but we also included it as part of a mastermind type group. And I think instead of the mastermind group, I want to just keep doing these free weekly Facebook lives, just so I can keep helping y'all. It's been on my heart for a long time. The dream. Did somebody remember? I have this so precious little granddaughter who's 3 years old. Have you seen her videos? She is a card. She is such a hoot. Especially find the one on my personal page, the Jan Luther page. My daughter Jamie posted her cray cray video. She is being so silly. I think it's because she has her mom and dad's undivided attention. Her sister's off somewhere. She's having cookies. She's having this crazy moment of just being so funny. Her true, authentic, silly self. And I take this child and I kiss on her. I kiss on her neck. I'll do anything to make this kid laugh because her laugh is so gorgeous. So the dream I had the other night was I was doing that, and I had her all cuddled up and snuggled, and I was kissing her face and kissing her neck, and she was laughing that laugh that just, raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. And I sat back, and it was baby Devin. And he looked me in the eyes, and I looked him in the eyes, and I knew, yeah, it felt like a dream, but it was a very conscious, real experience of him showing up in my arms for me to love on him. Happy tears, just so you know, I only mostly do happy tears about him. Oh, my loves, they are there. They are here. They are with you. Invite them to come into your experience, whatever that means to you. A whisper, a penny, a leaf, a feather, a bird. They want to help you. They want to help us tame our egos. I know that because my focus is starting to really shift to this feeling really passionate about saving our sanity so that we can pass it down to our children and grandchildren. I don't want my grandchildren to get depressed and think of suicide. You don't want your children. My children are a little bit older now, and I think they got a pretty good handle on it, but you may have a neighbor child. You are that influence in their life of higher thoughts and ways. And I want to empower you with whatever will help you do that. That's why I'm showing up here each week. And on that note, by the way, and I'll also put a vote for this. I may need to move these to Mondays. Tuesdays and Thursdays are my full client days, which I thought would be awesome because I'm already dressed and I'm already ready. But it's a little much on a full day. I might move these to Mondays. So Let me know if Monday works for you too. Yes, Barbara Davis, you do know. Barbara Davis Brown, you know that baby's laugh. Everybody knows the baby's laugh here. Thank you, guys. Don't let your ego win. It's a battle for your soul. We got to tame them. The more we tame our ego, the more attuned we get to our higher selves. I had 2 amazing clients today who've been working with the Ego Tamer Academy for about 3 months. They're not the same people. And they will be the first to tell you that their life is so different. Things that used to bother them, things that used to, right, that ego does not drive the bus. They laugh at it now. One of them said, she was so sweet, she said, is it wrong that I just don't care? That when ego goes, rah, 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 I'm just like, eh. I said, no, that's beautiful. That's the idea. We want to get to a place where we can look at it and go, oh, I see you, I hear you, but it doesn't move us. It doesn't influence us. That, my loves, is emotional freedom. That's spiritual freedom. Can you tell I'm passionate about it? And I'm passionate about you and helping you. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for bringing your spirit, your energy. Thank you for the healing you're doing in this, because I promise you, as we change our energy, it influences our environment here changes. It goes out into the universe. It goes out into the world. Every time we lift our vibration and consciousness, others, they're showing me a kite. I'm not sure. Oh, I got it. That it's like as we start lifting off, people grab onto the string of our kite. You know that. You've probably had the same experiences that when somebody's, oh, I love being with that person. I want to hang on to that string. Same thing. Thank you all for being here. I was asking Spirit if there was anything else I need to say. Thank you for sharing my dream. I wasn't sure I was going to, because that's really kind of personal and precious, but boy, was it vivid. I want to bless each and every one of you. I hope we can make this work, that this will be an ongoing thing. Maybe not every week, but I love being able to do this because I know there are many of you far, far away. Some of you that work all day. I'd love your feedback. I'd love it if you'd share this. If these are helpful, please let me know. Because like I say, it's just me talking over here. Sometimes I feel like there's a wall. Anyway, have a wonderful week. God bless you all. I will check in with you earlier next week to see if we're going to do Monday or Tuesday. I'll look at my calendar. It'll have to be next Tuesday, the 10th. And then after that, we might need to move it to Mondays. So have a blessed week. Love your feedback. Please share and invite people to the group. I know that the more people we can help raise their vibration, the more love and joy that makes this world go around. Love you guys. Bye.